On this week's show, the Lawrenceville community comes together to thank Tsai. We talk with Aldo Leopold Award Recipient David Ottoway and take a behind-the-scenes look at final preparations for this year's musical. Lawrenceville's 10-minute newscast begins right now. From the studios inside the Lawrenceville School's historic Pop Hall, this is L10 with Aiden Duffy. On Wednesday, the Lawrence Township Growth and Redevelopment Committee presented Lawrenceville with the Mayor's Award. The award acknowledges Lawrenceville's contributions to the local community, including support for the Lawrence Education Foundation, Sustainable Lawrence, and Lawrenceville Main Street, as well as the township's police and EMS departments. In addition to the construction of a new township playground this year and the maintenance of the Whedon Park, Laurentians volunteered approximately 20,000 hours of community service to the Lawrence community. A memorial service will be held on Saturday, October 14th in the Edith Memorial Chapel for Trustee Emeritus Phil Dresner. Dresner, Lawrenceville class of 1945, was a trustee for 20 years and chaired the Executive, Finance, and Property Committees, as well as oversaw the school's endowment. A Woodhullian and member of Student Council, Choir, Orchestra, and Glee Club, Dresner was also business manager for the Lawrence and played football. The 2018 Harkness travel programs were announced. From Nepal to Ghana, each year during spring and summer break, Laurentians embark on faculty-led trips all over the world. This year, the Harkness travel program is offering 15 programs, including 5 new ones, for students to immerse themselves in cultures around the globe. Last Friday, students competed in the second annual Inter-House Debate Tournament. Congratulations to Hamel House's Cameron Dano and Carter's Elaine Wang, who will square off November 9th at school meeting. On Thursday, Laurentians gathered in the Fieldhouse for a rally to thank Tsai for his historic contribution. Tsai, Lawrenceville class of 1982, is currently Executive Vice Chairman of Alibaba. Tsai's contribution supports Lawrenceville's strategic plan in many ways, including the planning and construction of a new athletic center and dining facility. The gift also supports the school's endowment and ensures the vibrancy of the community for generations to come. We talked with Tsai and other members of the Lawrenceville community as they celebrate it.
People ask me what's the meaning of giving to Lawrenceville, especially giving to endow Fieldhouse and the dining facility. And I wanted to let you know that these are the two things that I look back and remember. One is food, and the second is was athletics.
So, Mr. Tsai, you were sports editor of the Lawrence as well as varsity football and lacrosse player. So we know you kind of appreciate the competitive values and tradition of Laurentians. Can you tell us how this new field house will embody these key aspects of the Lawrenceville community?
Athletics is really a crucial part of the whole boarding school experience. And the students will come here and they will gather around here, whether they play competitively, competing for the school, or whether they just want to come here for a workout. I think it's going to be a central location for people to come and feel that they're very much part of the community.
Could you tell us a little bit about how your gift will impact not just today's Laurentians, but future generations of Laurentians?
Well, I think community, the idea of community should be timeless. I think Lawrenceville is a community today. 100 years from now, Lawrenceville should still be a community, and it will still have the community. There will be different students and different teachers, but I just think that the building kind of embodies the timelessness of things. So I hope that's what the building will embody.
How do you feel about Mr. Tsai's generous donation?
It's incredible. It takes generous gifts like the one that Mr. Tsai just gave to the school to make incredible changes. And men and women throughout the ages have been stepping forward to make it happen. So I think it's wonderful, and we're headed into the future. It's going to be a great thing.
Tsai, who we honor today, is such an incredible example of a Laurentian of great character who in his own way as an entrepreneur has helped change the world, Laurentian has now decided to give back and change our school for the better in an extraordinary way. This is a gift that will not only help transform our campus and life on campus with a new Fieldhouse and dining center, but it will also support our endowment and therefore our ability to continue to provide the Lawrenceville education that meets our extraordinary standards of excellence and ethics. Thank you, Joe.
David Ottoway, Lawrenceville class of 1957, received the annual Aldo Leopold Award on Thursday in recognition of his transformative work in journalism. Shazmina Khan caught up with him after his speech at school meeting.
Thank you so much for giving such a great talk at school meeting. We just have some personal questions now about the Middle East. What are your thoughts about women being granted the right to drive in Saudi Arabia, and what effect do you see this policy change having?
Well, you know, it's been a very long time in coming. Saudi Arabia is the last country in the world to allow women to drive. But it's been an agony for the government to come to terms with this issue because of very strong opposition from the religious establishment.
What are your thoughts regarding Saudi Arabia's new crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman?
Well, he certainly re-energized the government and society. Saudi Arabia used to be ruled by a kind of coalition of senior princes. Now everything is being concentrated in the hands of one person. Whether he's going to succeed or set off a chain reaction against this kind of new way of ruling the House of Saud, we have yet to see.
And finally, on the topic of your newest book, what do you think is the most profound consequence of the Arab Spring?
I would say it's the new empowerment of citizens. You know, governments in the Middle East didn't used to be afraid or worried about public opinion. Since the Arab Spring, the average person, Arab, knows that if they get together, it is possible to stand up to governments.
All right. Thank you so much for answering these questions. Back to you, Aiden.
Thank you, Shazmina. This year's musical, Guys and Dolls, kicks off next week. The Periwig Tech Club is hard at work preparing the set designed by a Lawrenceville alumnus, Hugh Landwehr. Performing arts master, technical director, master carpenter, and scenic charge on the production, Mr. Campbell tells us about the process.
When a set designer sees their work come to finalization, the most exciting thing for me is, well, it's two-part. At Lawrenceville, as an educator, I really love and cherish those moments when the students take over and they see their hard work up there. When you see all that work come together and it's functioning as it needs to help tell the story, that's really exciting. That's kind of my educator hat. As a more designer hat, your job, so to say, or at least your goal, is to release the subtext of the play with the director's vision through a visual medium. It's a visual art medium. And when all of those things are working well together and you're able to sit back, you realize that although you're not up there singing the songs or saying the lines or playing the scenes or playing those moments, you are saying something. Currently, right now, we are preparing for Guys and Dolls. The show is large. We have a lot of moving parts, so to say, with the scenery. It's been designed by, scenically designed by Hugh Landwehr, an alum of the school, who is a well-known regional and Broadway set designer. And it's so fascinating to know about Hugh's life here at Lawrenceville and his time, and then how his career took shape and form to where it is now, and great to welcome him back to a stage which he was on many years ago. And one unique thing about this year that's very different from other years is that we have a number of pieces of scenery which are vinyl printed scenery which have been applied to built structures. So it's a very unique thing. We have never done that before here. There's a few pieces of scenery which involve a bit of engineering. When you have a structure which needs to rove or move on stage and is X amount of weight, and it must do certain types of functions, such as have a door that opens up in it and have a large window in it, you end up working with unusual constraints and parameters, and you have to make it all work.
That is our show for this week. From all of us here at L10, thank you for watching.